Hey, do you ever worry what would happen to you if you needed some form of specialized care for something like maybe Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, or maybe you had a stroke and you couldn't care for yourself? Basically, something that means you would need some form of long-term care. Okay? Are you like me where that kind of almost creates that double pit in your stomach where you don't want to think about that happening to yourself, but maybe even worse is doubting that you're going to have the money to pay for the type of care that you'd need, so you're going to have to depend on a spouse or your kids to care for you? Man, I get that pit in my stomach just even talking about it. Do you really want your spouse to have to care for you? Since we're already a little uncomfortable, let's go ahead. I'm going to take it up a couple more, a notch or two here, okay? If you think your spouse can care for you, try this exercise. Lay down on the floor, flat on your back. See if they can pick you up and put you in your bed, okay? Can they do that? All right, let's say they can right now. If we fast forward 10, 20, 30, 40 years, could they do it when they're older? You could do this exercise with your kids too, to see if you think you're going to want them to care for you, all right? So do you want that to happen, or would you rather have the money to make the choice and control, have choice and control over your care, okay? All right, I'm going to notch it up another one here. Do you want your kids to see you naked? I know that deserves that big old yeah, right? Well, here's the deal. If you have to have your kids care for you because you don't have the money to get the choice and the control of your care, they're going to see you naked. I know this from personal experience. I had to do that with my dad for a while. And trust me, neither of us wanted that. I mean, heck, at the time, I had a 6-month-old at home that I was already changing diapers for, if you get my drift. Okay. All right, so enough of the yuck part of the equation, okay? The bottom line is that if you want to have choice and control over your care, you're going to need money, okay? That's just the bottom line. The problem is that the solutions to providing that money, they haven't been too attractive and quite expensive. You know, long-term care insurance is the one that everybody always talks about. It's very pricey, and it's almost always a use it or lose it proposition that I haven't found anybody that likes that idea. But luckily, in the past few years, there have been some great strides made in the arena of being able to create a pool of money to provide care if you need specialized care, okay? Whether it be in home, an assisted living facility, or a nursing home. Now, before you panic on that idea of a nursing home, because I know nobody likes that, a recent statistic showed that 80% of specialized care is done in the home. Now, sadly, most of that's because people don't have the money to do it anywhere else, and their loved ones are handling the care, which we've established we don't want, right? Okay. Well, one of the things that we try to do with my practice here is we try to find ways where we can make your dollars do many things, make them work harder and more efficiently for you. And as we are consistently and constantly searching for that, to accomplish those things, we've found some really amazing things. Imagine paying a relatively small amount over time to create a sizable to huge, depending on what your needs are, pot of money that's available for you to use to help pay for specialized care. Heck, you know what? Once you qualify for that specialized care, they just cut you a sizable monthly check to pay for whatever you need to pay for. You don't even have to provide receipts for what all the care that you had. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? So if you don't need the care, or you don't use up the entire pool of money, then that remaining money passes to your heirs when you pass away. You do need to be healthy enough to qualify for it, so you can't wait till you need the care and then apply for it. I still haven't found a program that does that. I doubt I ever will, and you can't hardly blame them for not offering that. Now, this is just one of our options. It's probably the one with the lowest monthly cost, but it might not be the best value. That just depends on you and your individual situation. Now, remember, I said we try to make your dollars do more. So if you've got a current life insurance policy, you know, the cheaper term type, and you got it more than 4 or 5 years ago, we may be able to, we'd want to review it, but we may be able to take those dollars to help cover the cost of this type of coverage. Even if you have an older permanent life insurance policy or a whole life policy, it might make sense to review those to see if they have these new benefits. Most whole life policies don't, and older universal life policies typically don't. Of course, there's many things to consider before doing anything with those older policies, but if your budget is tight, it's a place to look at to see if we might want to reallocate those dollars to make them do more for you. The question for you is, Do you want choice and control over any potential care issues in your future? Or do you want it to be up to the government, charities, and your loved ones? Now, if you think Medicare is going to handle these long-term care costs, you're going to be quite disappointed. Medicare does not cover long-term care costs. They'll cover up to 100 days of specialized care after specific events that happen to you, but it's not the type of coverage that we're talking about here. If you're thinking Medicaid will handle these types of care if you need them, please be aware that you're going to have to spend down your resources, your assets, to a ridiculous level before you even qualify for Medicaid. Plus, you're not going to have any control over where this care occurs. And if you think this absolves you from paying for your care, you should familiarize yourself with filial laws. Now, not every state has them, but with the expansion of Medicaid in the past couple of years, it's more likely that more states are going to pass them. Now, look, I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice. You should always consult with a qualified legal professional in this field. But I will tell you this, okay? Filial laws mean that if your final Medicaid bill, okay, is more than the remainder of your assets after you die and your spouse, if you're married, passes away, the state can go after your kids to pay those bills. Now, not many people know about these laws, but they are there in as many as 29 states. I'm in Missouri on the Kansas and Missouri state line. Neither of our states has that right now. Now, I also know there's a lot of opinions saying, well, they're not enforcing them that much, which may be true. But let me ask you this. If more people are on Medicaid, thanks to the new health care law, and the state Medicaid budgets are already stressed, do you think states are going to look to find new ways to bring funds in to fund the Medicaid programs? And if filial laws have already been proven to work to do that, could it make sense that they would begin to use them more? Now, would I be doing my job if I didn't make you aware of potential threats that I know about? Does this increased use of filial laws appear to be a way that states could help boost their Medicaid budgets? Would it be smart to plan for that possibility? That's why I talk about it. All right, so where are you on the subject for future care for you? Even future care for your parents if you got older parents. Maybe even teaching your kids about this at an early enough age so they could even get that coverage that's even more affordable for them. Is it something that's important to you? If there was a very affordable solution, would you want to know more about it? If you were looking at those affordable solutions or options already, would you also want to see if there are other options that may deliver more long-term value to see if they made more sense for you? Would you want to look at all of that while you were doing this? Or do you want to gamble that you're not going to need care and leave it, and if you do, leave it up to the government and your loved ones? Now, before you answer that one, let me share this with you. You've got upwards of close to an 80% chance of living to age 65. If you reached age 65, there's a 72% chance you're going to need some form of specialized care. So if you don't think you're going to need that type of care, think about those numbers again. Now, I know this is a tough subject and it requires money to solve it, all right? But if you can solve it with fewer dollars than you ever imagined, then you don't, if you don't use it, you don't lose it, because your loved ones get any money that you don't use once you pass away, okay? Wouldn't it at least make sense to look in to see if it makes sense for you, right? If it does, my numbers and stuff are up on the line. Call me on my direct line or email me. I know it's no fun to be a financial adult, but we all have to grow up sometime. Will you grow up by making sure that you've got the resources to give you choice and control over your care so you're not going to have to depend on your spouse and your kids to give that to you? Or will you grow up financially when you're having your spouse and kids care for you? Yeah, I know. That's a low blow. I know. But as they say, the truth hurts. So if you want to pursue this and take a look at it, give me a call. Think about what you have to gain if this actually does what I say it does, right? Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you found value in this, please share the link with any friends, family, coworkers. If you got older parents, share this with them. It's something that they really need to be thinking about. Depending on where you are in age, how old your kids are, if your kids are adults, you might want to be talking to your kids about these types of things so you're all on the same page to make sure you know what you want and how you want to handle it and the best ways to handle it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great retirement. Good luck to you.